Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rathbun. On this podcast, we promote positivity, empathy, and compassion because we believe that kindness is alive and well, and there are people and organizations that you may not have heard of in the world, making their communities a better place for everyone. And we want you to hear their stories. On this podcast, we talk about matters of kindness because kindness matters. Hey, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast. I am your host, Mike Rathbun, and I want to thank you so much for A, finding this podcast, and B, deciding to listen in for half an hour or so. We hope to bring you some uplifting, inspiring, heartwarming, and a whole bunch of other adjective words that we've got here. I'm usually better at this.
It's okay.
Thank you for joining in. Thank you for listening in. And if you find anything in this podcast that makes you feel good or leaves you with a smile on your face, make sure you tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, and random strangers on the street that you found a really great podcast that makes you feel good listening to it. I would appreciate it. And so that's all you need to know about that. Or as Tom Hanks would say, that's all I gotta say about that. Actually, it was Forrest Gump, wasn't it? Okay. I have got a fantastic show for you guys today. My guest today is one Avelyn Simons. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did. It was great. First try. It's very rare. So
I'm
thank you
just
so
saying,
much.
first try. I've been practicing it all afternoon.
Oh, thank you. That's so thoughtful.
Avelyn teaches drama, public speaking, music and film, and intro to film for the Performing Arts Department of Immaculata. That's the word I screwed up on. Immaculata
It's okay.
High School in New Jersey. Welcome to the show, Avelyn.
Thank you for having me,
It
Mike.
is so amazing to have you here.
Thank you
Love
for
the
having me.
backdrop for you. Absolutely love the backdrop. You're currently
Thank
on
you.
stage, it looks like.
Thank you. Yeah, I am on stage. So I thought, take it from school. What better way to have a little background going on, a little bit of set. I pulled up the piano for aesthetic purposes, but
Absolutely. So now I was going to ask how old you were. It doesn't matter. That's not the point.
you can.
You look incredibly young to be a professor.
Not a professor.
Okay.
Yes. Just a teacher, but I just turned 25. So thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
That would be really loud if I clap,
It's
so I'm
okay.
not going to do that.
That's work.
I'll give you off stage clap.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
All the way around.
It's a good thing this is a audio only podcast. How did you find your way to teaching in the Performing Arts Department of a Catholic high school in New Jersey, Miss Avelyn?
Yeah. I was looking for some opportunities to teach while I was an undergrad. I originally was, a performer and still am, but now it's not really my main thing that I do. So I was looking for some directorial experience. So I started directing a couple, middle school shows when I was an undergrad, as well as assistant teaching whenever I could. And then when graduation pulled up, I was looking for going to get my master's in teaching because it's something that really excited me. And I think the arts education is so important. And unfortunately, there are a lot of programs that are cutting their arts teaching programs. So I was like, oh no, I can't go to grad school. So I guess I have to find a job. Lo and behold, there was an opening at Immaculata for a brand new drama program, build it from the ground up opening. So I said, what the heck? I applied, and now my life has completely changed because of it. And I'm very grateful.
The rest, as they say, is history.
It's history. So yeah, it worked out amazingly. That's
Perfect. So I can only imagine the challenges, first of all, of teaching in general, but of high school, because there's a very small, in the scheme of things, age difference between you and your students, right?
Yeah, especially when I first started, I was 22 when I got hired. So, between the seniors and me, it's 4 years. So that was a little challenging to navigate because, when any kid sees like a young teacher, they're like, oh, either I can be her friend or what can I get away with? And it's sort of like it's a balance because you always want to present the kindness, you want to present the goodness, but you also need to present that you're a leader, that you possess authority, and that you deserve to be respected. So I learned those things over time, and luckily I did earn that respect in time, especially when it comes to cell phones. Don't take those out while I'm talking. Collect them right at the beginning of class.
Do
But
you?
huh?
Everybody put it in the basket?
Yeah, yeah, I call it phone jail. So tell your
Yeah,
mother
you
before
don't
class.
there's no 3 strikes. You put it in as soon as you walk in the door, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I know that's a kind of a huge deal. I mean, when I was going to school, we don't even wanna go there. Obviously, there were no cell phones or anything like that, but I can only imagine how disruptive they are, and every kid has one, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. And the thing is that they're addictive. Like the kids like are addicted to it. Um,
Yeah,
phones are a wonderful thing in many ways, but I mean, do you really
they
need
are.
Snapchat during class? No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, I know. I think they're playing around here in Minnesota, they're playing around with a law about putting them away or securing them or a lot of nuance to that.
Yeah, it's a very complex issue. It's a very complex issue.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine if something happened at my school when I was growing up. There was absolutely no way I was gonna get a hold of one of my parents,
Right.
much less text with them during class.
True, true. Yeah, but it is, it is the way of the world. But I will say, as much as I am a phone snatcher during class, there is the occasional kid like, "Hey, like, something happened at home," or, "Hey, can I text my mom really quick to pick me up early?" I'm not gonna deny a kid of that at all.
Absolutely not. So, okay, let's talk about and you teach a number of things, drama, public speaking, I think is amazing, and I think that's something that every kid should have because public speaking can be difficult, and well, it is. I don't think I could do it. I'm great here. I'm okay here, but
I
if I
said
were to have to
Wisconsin,
do it,
so
on a stage in front of X number of people, I'm not sure I could do it. Is it hard to teach kids that?
yes.
Public speaking?
Yeah, because that class, very differently than my other classes, just brings in such a range of kids. These aren't my actor kids, these aren't my music kids. These are the kids that are either, really wanting to learn or they're really shy and my mom said I should take this class. So it's just kind of a mixed bag. But what helps a lot is in the beginning of the year, I do a lot of like team building activities and like theater games and stuff, which sounds like on the surface like a waste of time, but it's so important because it gets the kids comfortable with me and comfortable with each other that when we start doing, the informative speeches, the persuasive speeches, the everything, they're comfy and they know that they're in a safe space. And I think it's great for them to understand awareness with how they talk, because it's more than just the words you say, it's just your overall presence. Do you look confident? What gestures are you using? What does your voice sound like? Because we're all human, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of my, if not my favorite class to teach, which is bizarre because it's not my main thing, but I really, really enjoy my time with those kids.
Well, and I mean, when as an actress or an actor, there's a lot of elements of public speaking that go into that as well, projection and whatnot.
Sure.
So it is kind of a natural fit, it seems like, is it not?
No, it definitely is. The only real obstacle I had was just doing the research on, how different forms of speeches are structured, and, really emphasizing which elements of public speaking I want to talk about, and just creating like a range of projects. One of my favorite projects we do is I do a unit on like instructional design. So they have to think like a teacher. So they make like a little lesson plan and then they teach me something. So, they do it in groups. So one group, like last year, taught me how to we made slime. Another group we made lattes. Another group we made friendship bracelets. So obviously, we do the written portion first and everything, but then after that, they show me how to do it and put it all together. Because for teachers, like a lesson plan is like, what are your objectives? What are your goals? What's your content? How are you going to put it all together? So they have to start thinking like a teacher. And I hope in some ways it helps them appreciate the work that we do that we put into that. But it's fun for them too.
Cool. You had mentioned earlier something about safe space, and that was going to be actually one of my questions because high school can be a tough time for a lot of students.
Absolutely.
Have you seen theater provide a safe space where kindness thrives?
Yeah, absolutely. I think theater and the arts has a reputation of being a pretty welcoming community. We're all artists. We're all from different walks of life, and that's what. Sorry, that's what create. That's my gosh, I can't talk. That is what creates.
I broke you.
No,
My
it's
God.
okay. It's okay. It's the end of the day. Yeah, I'm even wearing makeup because I was like, oh goodness, I can't show up without that. Anyway,
I could
that
use
is
some of
what.
that.
Huh?
I could use some of that.
No, you look great. Anyway, that is what creates such a successful mode of art. It depends on the kid, how they take in the kindness and what they put out. But I've had some kids. I had a couple of kids that, were special needs and it's so wonderful to see them thrive in this environment. I had one kid that graduated and she wrote me a note saying how much her confidence rose and how like comfortable she feels in this space. And while she's not going on to be a performer, it really impacted her for a long time. I had a boy who was in my show last year and he came out of like the woodworks. He never had been in a show. He never done anything musical. Like he's mostly a sports kid. And he was such a sweetheart and his parents were so kind. And his mother wrote me a handwritten letter at the end of the year saying, thank you for the experience. Like this has been my son's highlight of his senior year. And now he's singing in college. So you just never know how this space and this genre of art really does impact someone. And in terms of kindness, just the energy of being around a lot of really wonderful kids and wonderful people who all share like a similar brain cell that you do is such a beautiful experience. And also just knowing that you are able to express yourself and be yourself in whatever way, shape, or form you want. You can do it all right here.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so when you teach these kids, hang on a second, I'm sorry. I've lost my way.
It's okay.
So you're teaching kids how to act and to like theater act, not don't act up act, but
Right, right. Definitely not that.
um, because there is a difference. How do you encourage them to not just be great actors, but also kind human beings?
That's a really great thing to say. A good question. So
Thank
it's
you.
a balance. I think, like being an actor or like just being in the arts in general gets a reputation of, oh, you're a diva, you're a this, you're that. And those people do exist in this world. I've seen it, happily will say it does exist. And I've seen it with my students too. But for example, tomorrow I'm actually taking my kids on, my drama kids on a community service trip where we're working with children in need, particularly immigrant families and lower income families, and kind of sharing with them what we've learned. We're going to play some games with them. We're going to put on a little theatrical for them. Just so they can experience the magic of theater. But more importantly, the reason why this is my second year doing this specific trip, but the reason why I love this trip is because I want my kids to see how special theater is and how it can impact someone, especially someone in need because it's not always about me, 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 me. I sing the best, I act the best, I'm, getting photos done or whatever. It's not about that. It's really about the heart of it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And there are so many. There's a lot of great shows, movies. Fame, I think, comes to mind about a
Yeah,
group of people who come together and they come from very different backgrounds, but they work as a team. Because really, performing is a team sport, is it not?
100%. I usually do compare us to sports in some capacity because
Yeah.
every single person on this stage, in the booth, in the wings, all makes it happen. And, especially the people backstage are kind of like the unsung heroes of the show's success. And I'm very grateful for those people. And even as a performer, like would not be able to do 10-second costume changes without them. So everybody
Right?
helps make the magic happen.
Yeah, whether it's a set creator or props or what have you, they're all because without one of them, the show falls apart, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's so cool. And I was going to ask you if you could share a story you already did about a student who was impacted by your kindness. So now I'm off track.
That's okay. Sorry.
You know what? I was in choir in middle school and high school, and the choir did we did a few shows, but I absolutely loved that time. And I noticed, probably not until I was older, but in middle school, they call it middle school now. We called it junior high school back
Mhm.
then. We had this choir director, and we would do community service projects to earn money to take a trip every year.
Huh.
One year we did cleanup on a movie set because they shot a movie near our hometown. And it was a movie, it should have been a bigger movie than it was, Avelyn. It was called The Missouri Breaks,
Mhm.
and it starred, and I kid you not, Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson. You're
Big
talking the
names.
mid-70s. These were
Wow.
huge stars back then, right? And it flopped. It flopped so bad. But, we would go out and we'd clean up you know, Marlon Brando's cue cards were like, the letters on them were like, because he was blind as a bat.
Oh my god,
Couldn't
that's
see,
so
so
cool.
that was so cool, though, to get that experience of
Yeah.
what goes into movie making. But then, with the money that we made from that, we would take a trip as a class, as a choir class, and in return for that trip, because we probably got a discounted rate, we would give a concert.
Oh, that's
Just
nice.
that whole entire experience was so cool, and I absolutely loved every second of it.
That's so lovely.
It was really
What a
cool.
cool thing. You know, you were in the vicinity where Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson were. That's pretty epic.
Spoiler alert, it was a Western and it was filmed in Montana, so go figure. Honest to gosh, go look up IMDb or something and look up the Missouri Breaks,
I will.
and
I will.
it's probably got like a Rotten Tomatoes score of 10 or something. I don't even know if do they rate movies that old? I don't know.
Probably. I don't know actually.
I sat down, I think I found it on streaming somewhere. I don't remember where, but yeah, I tried to watch it. It was really bad. There were a couple of other fairly good sized names in that as well, but it doesn't matter.
That's so cool.
So when you're talking about teaching, and if you could give advice to other educators about weaving kindness into their teaching, what would you say?
I think there are a couple points about that are pretty important. One of them is just understanding, like, my advice would just be, and I'm sure every educator would say this, is just understanding the range of kids that you're going to have. I mean, that's something that they don't teach you before you're a teacher, is that you're going to have kids from all different kinds of backgrounds, learning styles, whatever. And you really have to take in the whole person before, you assess like either their obstacles or anything like that. So that's super important because you never know who you're going to touch. You never know who you are going to impact. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. So, and that takes a while to assess, and it's not like you necessarily interview every kid, but over time, you just sort of start to understand their character and you develop a relationship with them. And that's super helpful, especially in a small school. That's what I've loved is that I really get to develop relationships with each one of my kids, which has been great. Really, really great. And then I think
Yeah.
my second for kindness too is like teaching is such a mentally, physically, and like emotionally exhausting job. They really do say that it's kind of like being a parent. And obviously I'm very young, but I feel like a parent to a lot of these kids because I have to be a role model for them. So everything that you do, like they will retain, they will remember, they will pick up. So you always have to be conscious of how you're presenting yourself and how you're taking care of yourself. Cause that if you're kind to yourself, that energy is just gonna come right right out to you. So that self-care after school, super important, fill your cup, get some rest. Uh,
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. That must be a skill, and I'm not sure every teacher learns it. What you were talking about, being prepared to address each kid individually, or because do they teach you that in college when you're going for your teaching degree? Do they teach you you're going to have kids from every corner of the globe? They're all going to have their own different ways of thinking and different, and you have to be kind of prepared for that, right?
yeah, I mean, they'll warn you, that, just
Okay.
to be conscious of that, but it's
But they don't
a
teach you how
lot of
to do it.
no, a lot of what I've learned, I mean, I don't have a degree in teaching necessarily, but I did take teaching classes while I was an undergrad, but a lot of it's just experience based. You just kind of have to figure it out when you get in the room and have the capacity to assess the situation and figure out maybe where the spots are, maybe where, the better behaved kids are, who's got like a learning disability, who needs extra assistance, who blah 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 blah. It's just such a
Uh,
range of things.
yeah, for sure. Hey, did I see that you performed at the Empire State Building?
I did, yes.
What was that about?
So I was in high school. I was with Paper Mill Playhouse and their show choir. So we did. I think did we go all 3 years I was there? Maybe two. We went twice. It was like for tourism. We just went. We went to almost the top floor and sang to any tourists that were coming in, and then we did like a donor performance as well. And then we got to go all the way to the top and see all the sights. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it
That's
was fun.
kinda like okay, so my little field trip, we went to some hot spring spa hotel that was run down. You get to go to the Empire State Buil You also worked with Kelly Ripa? Name dropper.
Work with her. I just sang at an event she was at. So so
Okay,
I got to
I
sing before
misread.
she went on stage.
Maybe she needs to call you. I'm just saying,
Maybe, yeah, Kelly will give you my number.
call me. So and we've talked about a lot about how teachers influence kindness in their students. Last question. How do your students inspire you with
Ooh,
their acts of kindness?
that's a good question. A lot of them do in so many ways. There was one student last year, very, very sweet girl, super talented, like honors AP student. Like she was crazy, crazy wonderful in so many ways. And I always told her that I was like, I want to be you when I grow up. Like she was kind, she was all around just a good kid. And she was like, "Nah, Miss Simon's like, you're older." I'm like, "No, no, no." I said, "I want to be you when I grow up." And then I almost cried at the end of the year. She gave me a note and a little plaque that said, "I want to be Miss Simon's when I grow up." And I was like, oh, tears. Oh, just me
Yeah,
admiring her. You don't understand. Sometimes they admire you back. And, you know, the kids always astound me in many ways. I have one little girl, and she's really, really, like, genuinely kind to everybody she encounters, even some of the, how do I put it? Some of them not as
a little less
nice
kind,
peers, kind of the popular girls really aren't her crew. Um,
right?
she is still endlessly kind to them. "I love your sweater," da, 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 like, "Oh, you did great today in class," and I'm like, like, I admire her because I don't know if I, at the time, or even now, would have the capacity to compliment someone that hurt me, you know?
Yeah,
And that's such a huge, huge thing for her maturity. So I really admire them and see them being kind each and every day. And especially at a Catholic school, they do community service trips and whatnot. And, I have a number of kids that do sign up willingly. And even when I take my kids tomorrow, we did it last year, they had a great time. It's so nice to see them impact the lives of these younger students and just constantly display, we're going to be there most of the day. And they just are going to display so much kindness because they genuinely, genuinely want to make these kids' days better.
fantastic. Avelyn Simons, thank you so much for everything that you do for bringing up kind kids
Thank you.
in what can sometimes be an unkind world.
It really is. It really is. So, yeah, it's nice to see in my students every so often for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you for being on. We will be in touch and you keep doing what you're doing, girl, because you're doing well.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
We'll talk later.
Okie dokie.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Kindness Matters podcast with my guest, Avelyn Simons. I hope this episode it left you feeling a little easier, a little more hopeful about the state of the world we all share. If you enjoyed this episode, if you felt a certain kind of way after listening, please, please, please feel free to tell your friends, family, and coworkers about us. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to us, whether it's Spotify, Apple, any of the other podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter It's absolutely free, and there's a link at the bottom of the show notes there. Every month you'll get an uplifting letter with stories of kindness and just people being amazing. It'll be in your email box once a month, every month, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that as well if you enjoy this podcast. You have been listening to the Kindness Matters podcast. We will be back again next week with a brand new episode, and we would be honored if you would join us again. Until then, just remember, kindness matters, and so do you.